You know, the legend of Bigfoot goes back to before people even wrote stuff down. They were just stories passed down through generations. Idaho has its own long-standing big-footed fable as well. There's a statue that's been standing at the site of the Old Fort Boise in Parma for nearly 50 years. And if you've been out there, well, you know what we're talking about. It's made of cement. It's kind of depiction you might expect, the features of someone that may or may not have existed. They covered all the bases there, the barrel chest, the big feet, in which he apparently took long strides. It's a long stride. But that statue got us wondering about Idaho's Bigfoot. And according to John Haley's book, The History of Idaho, Bigfoot was 6'8". He weighed 280 pounds, and he had a footprint that measured nearly 18 inches long. Not quite shack size, but big enough to be, well, Bigfoot. And that's the only part of the story that remains true through all of the versions of Idaho's Bigfoot. Oh, and he was also apparently the namesake of one Treasure Valley city.
Well, there was a chief by the name of Bigfoot, Chief Nampa. Was the town named after him? I don't know.
There's a lot of unknowns about Idaho's Bigfoot. Will we ever know?
Probably not.
Did he have big feet?
Some say that he did, yes. Allegedly 17.5-inch footprints, and he was 6'6", or maybe he was 7'6", or who knows exactly, but he was a big guy.
And his name would appear, historian Rick Just says, anytime white settlers didn't do well in a battle.
He was this huge Indian. Nobody could have done anything about it. He was just huge. So that was the story.
That was the story. And he couldn't be stopped because he was so big.
Exactly. And there were people that were killed and horses that were stolen and that sort of thing. And those things did happen. Of course they did. Was this single Indian involved in every one of those incidents? Probably not.
In fact, this single Shoshone morphed into an amalgamation of many. There's the chief named Nampa, then there's another Shoshone by the name of Howluck, who was involved in the Snake War and who Idaho State Historical Society says is the real Bigfoot. Or there's the other Bigfoot, who was 1/4 Cherokee and whose story was told in the Idaho Statesman in 1878.
Yes, it was quite, let's say, incredible.
It was a 10-year-old, third-hand, rather extravagant account of an encounter, of how and when the terror of Idaho was killed.
This person reported to the Statesman that someone he knew told him the story about how that someone met Bigfoot in the Owyhees and there was a shootout. And he shot Bigfoot 16 times. And then he was going to die. So he took that opportunity to tell about a 2-hour story about his life, as one would, of course.
And that seems far-fetched to you.
It does. Part of it is because the gentleman who allegedly told this story never mentioned it in any of his own papers.
That gentleman gunman was allegedly John Wheeler, seeking the $1,000 reward for Bigfoot.
However, he never collected it, so...
And no proof it even happened.
You know, there was no body, there was nothing like that. Just one of those good stories.
So according to you and your research, there's no definitive explanation for a Native American, Shoshone, Paiute, whichever, Bannock. There's no explanation or even evidence that he existed.
There really isn't. I've never seen it. There are stories, but stories are stories.
Yet we have a statue that says this guy was real.
Yes, yes.
We do. The Bigfoot statue was big enough deal to be dedicated by Governor Cecil Andrus back in the August of 1974, that is. And there's a lot of details we didn't get into with this story, like why there was a $1,000 bounty on Bigfoot's head that apparently comes from the many coach and wagon robberies he was a part of and the killings Bigfoot did during his time in the Treasure Valley, a lifestyle that stemmed from him allegedly being turned away by the father of a girl that Bigfoot fancied. And why that money was never claimed? Well, John Wheeler was also an outlaw, apparently, and according to the criminal code, one outlaw didn't collect the bounty on another. And the best part of all of this, there's no way to know if any of this is exactly true or how much of it really is, but man, it'd be cool if it was.